Welcome to the studio at Two Girls Treasure. I'm Diane Pruitt. We are in Florence, South Carolina, just a little way off I-95, and we've been working on a set of dining table chairs that have been refinished in gray mist. I hope you were able to catch the live tutorials Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today is Thursday, and it is Paint Therapy Thursday. However, it's a water sports kind of day. Why? Well, these are the old seat cushions. That's pretty yuck. It is not going to come clean. We're not going to throw these away. I've got a whole different recycle project for this upholstery, but we are going to strip these down, freshen everything up, and recover them. One of my favorite recover ideas of all time ever, and I love doing it, so I hope you're with me on this, is to use cotton canvas. I love this fabric. It is soft once you wash it, and I do put some bleach in it, not like chlorine bleach, but I do use like a color remover so I get a softer tone, not that yellowy finish. This is kind of nice, but that's not what I really, really want. What I really, really want is this nice, soft green color. Remember, we mixed this recently, and I had a little bit left over. So I have already put the water to it. It's warm water. And I put the paint in, and I have stirred to make sure all of my paint is mixed in really well. And now we're going to take the fabric we've already removed. We're going to cut a template from our cotton canvas, and then we're going to take this bucket and this mix of water and fabric softener. This is how we're going to start. So join me this morning. Dreams do come true. Let me see if I can find my Fiskar. It's right here. I love this little tool. It's a rotary cutter. If you sew, you know what they are. You have a dozen of them. I haven't really learned how to sew well, but I have some of them. Now, this is a giant piece of fabric. So I'm going to open it up to an area where I don't think I've cut it already, but let me check. Let's go all the way around. Nope, this is uncut. Well, let's change that. Let me get to an area where I can work. I'm going to lay it over the tabletop, and I'll tell you what I have that I am going to try to use. Stay there. Stay with me. I would like to clip this fabric to the table so that I can cut without stretching it, and I can cut without it flopping off the table, because it is superior. Y'all, I have learned not to touch that phone when it rings. Sorry about that disruption. The fabric's straight. The fabric is clipped on. If one of those would go, I don't know if this one will open far enough, but I'm going to try it. It does. Just enough. All right. Our fabric is down solid. We're going to open this up. This is the old fabric that I did take off, and it has a good 1.5 inches around it. That's my estimation. And to mark this properly, I'm going to get out my famous piece of green chalk. I want to stay away from the seam because we don't want that seam. So I'm going to mark this all the way around so that we can take our rotary and we can cut this fabric to the right size. We want this to fit when we put it on the chair seat. And it's not a straight line. Don't cut your fabric in a straight line. It's not a straight line. It's kind of curved on the back. It has an angle on the sides. It kind of looks straight across on the front, but there's a lot of curvature right here because of the curvature of the chair. And those are some amazingly well built chairs. So I'm thankful that we have that to work with. Now I'm going to take my rotary cutter and I'm going to try not to pinch any of my digits while I do this, because I did that already with a razor blade last week. My famous razor blade finally got me. But I love this thing. I love what it does. Let's come around. And if you sew and I'm doing this wrong, don't die because I'm doing this wrong. It's working for me, so we're going to keep rocking. I think we did all right. I've got a couple of spots to break loose. That one didn't want to. It is a stringy fabric, so you want to cut it generously if this is what you use. Because if you don't, you're going to have strings hanging out all over the place. And dun dun. And there we go. Oh, two more. Bam. All right. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to close this. Safety over the cutter. Now we have a great piece of fabric cut to fit. It's nice and generous, soft, and I am excited about moving this forward. So let me take my clamps off the table. See, we would have been fighting with that fabric that whole time and we wouldn't have a straight cut one. Now we do. That is a giant piece of fabric and I love that about it. I'm going to get this container, and here's why. I want the fabric to absorb the paint, but one, I want it to absorb it nice and evenly. Two, I still want my fabric to be nice and soft when I finish. I'm not painting on the fabric, so I don't need to use a fabric medium, but because I want it nice and soft, I'm going to lay it down in here, and I'm using this because I don't want fabric softener all over my table. This is an 80-20 mix of fabric softener and water. Use this anytime you're using Rethunk Junk paint. You're so sweet. I appreciate you. Thank you. I love what I do. But you want to use a fabric softener anytime you're going to use your Rethunk Junk paint products on your fabric. Now, even though we're watering down the paint, I still would like to make sure my fabric absorbs the material nicely. So I'm going to open this up. I've already mixed it, and I'm just going to spray into the container on top of my fabric. I've got it rolled over. I don't want it saturated. I'm not going to pour it in there because I don't want saturated fabric. I just want a light mist over the top of it so that when I get ready to put it down into the paint water mixture, it will be more accepting of the dye, which is a paint and water mixture. Did you know you could dye your fabrics with Rethunk Junk paint? I may put a design on the fabric once it dries really well, but today I'm going to dye the fabric in the mixture we made last month. If you were with us, we mixed linen and fresh sage. It made this amazing light misty green color. We've used it on several different projects, and now we're going to water it down and use it as a dye on our cotton canvas fabric. So I've cut the cotton canvas fabric the size of the seat cushions that I've already taken off. And right now I'm using this bucket to spray the fabric softener and water mixture on the fabric because I don't want the fabric softener all over my table. Fabric softener is a resist. Sounds crazy that I'm using it to do this, but it works, I promise. All right, let me sop up a little bit more. It is not saturated. It is covered thoroughly, front and back, side to side. So let's set this bucket out of the way and let's do this. Are you excited? I'm excited. I love to dye my fabric, and this is such a great, simple way to do that. And you don't have to worry so much. Let me grab my gloves. You don't have to worry so much about chemicals because Rethunk Junk paint is a water-based paint. Now I'm going to stir this one more time. I'm going to tip the bucket and make sure all of our paint is out of the grooves and mixed with water. No clumps, no lumps. We'll turn this. I did use warm water, kind of hottish, more than just warm. All right, let's stir really well. And while the fabric should take the paint fairly easily, I am going to leave it in the water for a good bit of time today. I want to make sure that the fiber is saturated. And it's going to be 100 degrees today in South Carolina, so I'm going to use that awesome South Carolina sun and heat to dry this fabric out. So once I get done dyeing it, I'm going to lay it out on the back side of the building. I have some work tables out there, and I'll lay this out for it to dry. And then I will finish pulling apart the seat cushions and get ready to install this fresh fabric. Paint Therapy Thursday. Did you know you could use Rethunk Junk paint as a dye? It's so much better than those RIT dye packs. And I'm not worried about my hands getting stained like it would with RIT dye. I just put the glove on because I don't want to prune my fingers first thing this morning. So let's go. You ready? Let's dip it down in and look already. Look at the color on the fabric already. It is going to be a very, very light green, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't want a harsh contrast with those gray mist chairs. This color is a custom mix of fresh sage and linen. And we may well put some designs on these seat cushions once we get them colored and dried out. I think this is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Look at our color now. So let's let that sit for just a little while. Let's let the fibers get saturated. Let's cut another piece. I'm going to put my mixing stick right there. We'll scooch that out of the way. And let's cut some more because we need 4 seat cushions. So let's get this work done. I also believe we should take a coffee break. And that's why. We have not had enough coffee yet this morning, clearly. And now I have my fabric tangled up and locked down. There we go. That's out of the way. I've been working on the seat cushions, so I've got them pushed off to the side so they're not visible, but Lord, they're wreaking havoc. All right. There's my bottom because there's my giant hole where I just cut the seat cushion out. And we'll just go again. Again, we want to make sure that we are not near the seams. Make sure that we have enough fabric on the table to cut what we need. Keep that straight at the bottom. And I'm going to clip the sides to the table to keep the fabric from slipping while I'm cutting. Three on that side. There's my one for this side. I could put 2. Now that I know the little clamps will hold it as well. Is this a little cumbersome? Well, you know what? We're making new seat cushions. We're making new covers. So even if we had gone to the non-existent fabric store and purchased upholstery fabric, we would still have to lay it out and cut these out. So we're doing just fine. We're going to keep the straight edge back here. Make sure the fabric's laid out smoothly. Coffee break because, whew. Yo, Granny, you're awesome. Listen up. Sure. Tell you what, take your nonsense somewhere else because we don't play that around here. Tell your mama I said, hey, go ask her what's up. Where are you from? And I'm not your granny. All right. I have my chalk. Let's cut this out. We'll mark it. Come around the side. Sort of have to make this edge because it tore when I was bringing it off of the seat cushion. And I don't know that it was ever fully cut out. So we're going to make sure we have enough fabric to go back where it's supposed to go so that when we put this on, we have a generous amount to tuck. We can trim it as we move forward. You can always cut more off, but if you cut it too short, you just are going to have to cut a new piece. And I only want to cut this one time. So let's go again. This is how our day is going to go. But it'll be a good day. When we get done cutting and dyeing fabric today, We're going to take the sale prices down because we did not get that done yesterday. If you happen to come in and something still has a sale tag on it, we'll work it out. All right. And back around. And we've got a good cut. Now I want to go ahead and get all of the pieces cut simply because, let me put the safety back on. I want to get all the pieces cut safe simply because I want to go ahead and put the fabric softener on them, so when I take the pieces that are in the paint dye out of the paint dye, I can put them down in that container. So we need all 4 pieces cut out. Then we can dye them. Loose strings. That's probably the only thing I don't like about using this fabric, but if you give it enough room, if you cut generously, then the strings don't become your problem because you can move past them. I want a nice soft finish, and this is going to give us exactly what we're looking for. Okay, if you are going to speak with any degree of respect, you ask whatever question you want. But I'll tell you again, if you're here for nonsense, you probably ought to go home because we don't do the nonsense. And if you don't have anything else to do but run your mouth on YouTube, then we just don't do that. But if you have a question, I'll be glad to talk with you. I really will. We are dyeing fabric using our paint product and warm water because all week we've been repainting a set of dining room chairs. And once we finish the dining room chairs, we wanted to create a new upholstery because the old upholstery is bad. The seat cushions and the seat frames were really well constructed, so we want to save those, reuse them. I just wanted to do a nice cotton canvas fabric, and I wanted them dyed in this beautiful light sage linen blend color so that when we put them on the chairs, they look fabulous. So if that's your question, there's your answer. I appreciate you being mindful and respectful. I really do. I learned a long time ago that no manners is worse than no money, and I just don't do that. I might be broke, but I'm still going to mind my manners. So what are you doing with this fabric? You trying to make something? I am. We're going to make seat covers for our new, freshly painted vintage dining room chairs. Now I've come to a place in the fabric where I got something on it, so I'm going to pull it down. We're not going to use that section. If you get to a bad spot in the fabric, move past it. Just move past it. All right, I'm going to take this over here, clip this down. Again, this is a floppy kind of fabric, so making sure it does not fall over, fall off the table, slide around while we're marking and cutting, it's kind of important. So I'm going to move that top so that we've got it flush, nice and smooth. And then we'll clip this side and we'll repeat. We've got 2 cut. We need to cut 2 more because we have a set of 4 chairs. We want this side down. These are the original seat cushion covers. The upholstery is dirty, It is in some cases stained where it's not going to clean. So we're just going to recreate the upholstery. And once we do, I've been taking the seat cushions apart. There are approximately 100 staples per chair that I have taken out just on the seat cushion. So I need to get those staples out of all 4 cushions. I'm going to dye this fabric using our mix of Rethunk Junk paint and warm water. And when I'm done, these will be dry and we will reupholster the seat cushions and we'll have brand new chairs. And what's your name? Glorianne? Glorianne, thank you. We're always making something here in the studio. Every day, Monday through Thursday, we do a live tutorial. We refinish and refurbish old furniture. Sometimes we make things from scratch. It's a lot of fun, but we try to use recycled materials, things that nobody else wants or wants to use. Sometimes we use brand new pieces. Not furniture. We don't do new style furniture in the studio because it doesn't need anything. It's new. This old furniture, the goal is to keep it out of the landfill and recycle as much material as we can while we're going, which is why I won't throw these seat covers away. I will wash them and we'll use them for something completely different because they are not good for seat covers anymore. And even if I had used them and re-dyed those, they still had stains on them in places where it wasn't going to come out. But we'll find a recycle project for those so that we don't throw the whole thing in the trash and waste it. Where are you from, Gloriana? Are you local to Florence, South Carolina? If you are, I'd love to have you come by the studio and visit. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. That's 3. Let's cut one more, and then we'll swap out in our dye bucket. I'll show you what we've got going on, Gloriana. If you bear with me for just a few more minutes, let me cut one more. And look, we went all the way side to side. Very little waste. Let's clip it back down. I love having these tools handy. They make all the difference sometimes. And I'm really glad I swapped out my work table. I like this work table. Now, even though we're at the end of the run, I don't want to stretch the fabric as I'm clipping it down. Gently clip it down because if I stretch it, then my cuts are going to be distorted and my seat cushion is not going to be the size that it needs to be. So gently clip it and we will. You're from New Zealand? Wow, what time is it in New Zealand right now? It's got to be like 10 o'clock at night, right? I appreciate you spending your evening with us. Thank you. I'm marking this with my chalk so I can see where my cut needs to be. And Doesn't have to be perfect as long as it is generous, because we want that extra edge of fabric to tuck under once we get these ready to go on the chair bottom. And here comes the train. All right, we're done with this, so we're going to put the safety on. We'll grab our scissors again and trim those last little bits. And there he is. And that's the fourth. All right, now let's get this fabric off the table. We'll put our clamps out of the way because we're going to use those on the chair bottoms. All right. Again, we will take our fabric softener and we're going to spray an 80-20 mix of fabric softener and water. 80% water, 20% fabric softener. You can't sleep. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's like 10 o'clock. How do I know? I meet a lot of people in our store, and I've met some folks from New Zealand, and I have a friend whose family lives there. I'm sure they don't live in the neighborhood where you live because New Zealand's kind of a big country, and I don't know enough about it, but I know enough about the time difference to know that you're up late. I'm sorry you can't sleep, but I'm glad you found our video. Thank you. And I don't mean to be rude, but we do get creepers on our videos sometimes, and they say some ugly things. And I just was raised better than that. We don't do ugly here. So try to nip it in the bud. I'm spraying these with the 80-20 mix of water to fabric softener so that they will stay supple while they're being immersed in the paint, but they will also take the paint more evenly. Now, because we're not doing regular dye, this is what I do with our fabric. Anytime I'm using our paint over our fabric, I just spritz it with this fabric softener mix. It keeps the fabric softer, and a lot of times when you paint fabric, it tends to absorb in. Well, that's what it's supposed to do, and I don't want it to absorb past the fabric when I'm doing something with straight paint. So even though I'm dyeing them and it's not straight paint, it's a mix with water, I still want to make sure that it is still soft and supple when I finish, because these are going on chair seats, so we want them to feel comfortable. You know, thank you. You're fine. You're fine. We love you anyway. Love that you're here. I hope when I get done that you're able to go to sleep and get a good night's rest. Morning's going to come quicker than we all like for it to. I slept in just a little bit extra this morning. Just a little bit. It was wonderful. flip this around and we'll spritz the other side again. And I'm spraying it in the bucket because I don't want this fabric softener mix all over my table, because we do a lot of paint work on this table. Fabric softener is a resist, and I don't want to mix it up with any of my other projects. That should do that trick. Now, here's what we're going to do. I have all of these done. I'm going to lay them right here. And I'm going to put my awesome little glove back on. I don't know where my other awesome little glove is, so we're one glove in it. Look how beautiful that fabric is. We went from this to this. That's a great color. It's very soft, not harsh. Let's squeeze some of that liquid out. I don't want to twist because I want to make sure I keep the material in the fabric. I want the fibers to absorb as much as possible. But there we go. Now our seat cushions are a beautiful sage green. This is going to look amazing with our gray mist chairs. I'm going to lay it in this bucket, and we're going to take our mixing stick one more time. I'm going to tip the bucket to make sure the paint hasn't settled. I had really hot water, and I shouldn't have second guessed myself. I probably put a little too much cold in it for what I like. You live in a country around the world. I'm going to go now. Have a good night and a good day where you are. You know what? God bless you. I hope you rest well. Follow us on Facebook as well, Two Girls Treasure, and I will post the finished pictures of the seat cushions as soon as I get them done. Have a blessed and beautiful night. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you. Come back and see us Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 o'clock your time. And you can always watch on replay. Thank you, Gloriana. Have a beautiful night. Rest well, my friend. So I'm going to stir this really well one more time. Make sure that all of that pigment is ready. And one at a time, I'm going to lay these in. Smoosh them down. I think I can only do one at a time. I think that's all the water that I put in, so I'd do one at a time. So we'll leave this in for just a little while. And we'll let it soak up that beautiful paint and water. And then when it's sat for a little while, we will do the same thing. I'll squeeze the paint out. We'll put it over in this container. And then I'm going to take it outside in the shade and lay it out so the heat of the day can dry these. I'm very excited about the way these look. I'll show you on Facebook as soon as I can lay them out and take a great picture of them. You know what? I appreciate every one of you who stop in to see us at the studio, whether you're here on YouTube or whether you stop into the store. New Zealand's a little bit of a stretch. I get it. You may never be here. But you can always watch us Monday through Thursday live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time in South Carolina. You can always catch all of our videos on replay. This week we've been painting the chairs so that we could get to the seat cushions. And I'm very excited because once we get the chairs and the seat cushions done, then I can do the table. And I'm very excited about the design on the table. You'll want to be here for that. I hope you have an amazing day, a beautifully blessed weekend. We are open late tomorrow evening. Fridays, we stay open until 8 p.m. Swing by. We're a half mile off I-95 in Florence, South Carolina. We'd love to see you. I'm going to go take the sale price stickers off the furniture that we did not sell. Thank you to everyone who came and participated in our annual warehouse sale. We did what we needed to do, and we made some room. We do have brand new furniture from the Pearl Furniture Gallery out of downtown Darlington in here. on a temporary basis, but we've created a space for the Pearl Furniture Collection. Stop in and see our beautiful theater lighting, full motion recliner, and love seat with recliners, stainless steel cup holders, and we have a beautiful and soft chocolate brown upholstered living room suite with a chase lounge and a storage ottoman. Come by and see us. I'm Diane Pruitt at Two Girls Treasure in Florence, South Carolina, wishing you a beautiful day and an absolutely fabulous weekend. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. Bye, y'all.